All right. Welcome back, everybody, to the fourth week of the Tech Bytes JavaScript session. We know a lot of you guys are joining us from the Python session, and we are glad to have you guys back. And without any further ado, let's get on to the content of week 4. Y'all know who I am. You guys know who Andrew and I are, both of us. My name is Rayan Siddiqui. I'm a rising senior at James B. Clark High School. My website's down there, rayansiddiqui.com. Let's get to the actual stuff.
All right, yeah, like Rayan said, we should probably just skip through most of this, but hey, my name's Andrew. You know what I do? I do the coding, I do the illustrating. Gonna be soon at Purdue freshman, so let's get to that coding.
Yep. All right, quick agenda for today, guys. We're going to be doing a quick recap of the content we have learned over the past 3 weeks, and we are going to finish the pond activity. I believe we left off on level 7 we have to do, I believe, from the pond activity. And then we're going to maybe introduce some typing code or just make some general comments about it. And yeah, pretty light day today for the JavaScript session, coming from a rigorous day in the Python session.
All right, so some things that we've done over the last 3 weeks. We've studied variables, which is how you take values and put them into boxes or put them into little storage, naming them essentially in your code. Functions, which are sort of a way of performing tasks with that variables or with that data, or just generally performing actions. We have loops, which are the ways we repeat tasks and various actions in our code. We have if-then statements. We've used that to do things conditionally, do things based on whether things are true or false. And we have applied all those concepts to block code so far.
Yep. Thank you, Andrew. So now let's combine those even more and finish the pond tutor activity. And yeah, so everybody can please hop on to our website. And I believe we do have one more new person, Arav, who joined this week. So I will drop the link in the chat as well. And let's open that up. And head on over to our pond tutor activity. All right. So last week we left on level 7 for the pond tutor activity, and yeah. So it looks like we have to get our character, this duck, to this duck. And right now it's just going towards the right, it seems. So we have to find the angle which will allow it to go downwards towards the right diagonal. So let's try 315 degrees and see how that works. Oh, there we go. All right. So, and guys, now, since in the next couple of weeks, we're going to be making our transition to typing code, this showing us that function swim being called and the input being a 315-degree angle. Andrew, do you want to alternate?
Sure.
I'll give you the access to the key. All right.
Should be getting, okay, yeah. All right, so in this instance, we have to change the angle once again because of the different positioning of our ducks. So let us actually do that. Now, instead of doing the block thing, we're going to go into the coding direction for this one. Now, just a quick information on how coding works. You are no longer dragging in inputs into these little spaces in the blocks. Now we're going to talk about things called input parameters, which are just the thing highlighted in blue right here. That's just supposed to represent the input. Instead of having these like white spaces that we drag things into, we have parentheses. And generally, when you have a parenthesis on the left, parenthesis on the right, the thing in between that is the actual parameter or the input variable to that routine or function. In this case, the swim function. So let me actually do that right now. That should be 270 degrees. Run program. All right. Let me just like make sure hold on. So of course, trial and error, we're going to have to change up the degree just a little.
Try and make it like 275.
Sure. All right. There we go.
All right.
So of course, you should probably take over this, Rayan.
All right, yeah. So looks like they're all right, so level 9. So this time we are going to have to use, looks like some other statements, getting the horizontal location of the duck. So our main idea is that we want to drain all of the life of the other duck. So we're probably going to have to keep on repeating a statement. Who can tell me what we use in order to keep on repeating a statement? It's a concept we have learned over the past couple of weeks. Anybody have an idea? We will be using loops to make sure that we can keep on running a certain code segment until the condition is met. So how about we drag and drop a while loop? And this time we want our duck to keep on going forward, but still keep on firing. And we got to use some of the new commands, this being the location of the ducks. So let's see. So we got the cannon. We're probably going to have to use this. And we're going to, the condition which we're going to put into the while loop is going to be until the enemy has no health left, in this case being while true. And guys, if ever you were going too fast or slow, just let us know and we'll answer any questions. But, so if I run this, looks like that our duck is keep on firing the bullets, but it's not moving. So we gotta find a way to make it move. And we gotta use the location command somehow. So if we so how about we use an if statement to check the location of the duck? And we gotta keep on firing the bullets until the duck is at a certain location. So how about we hop on over back to logic, drag and drop that code block, and we gotta get the location of the duck. Now we need the horizontal location of the bird. So let me give some context real quick. So on an XY, we need, since our duck is right here and the other duck is right here, we are going to need only the horizontal coordinate of our duck instead of the Y coordinate, as our duck is not moving up and down. Instead, it is only moving left and right.
If you want to think of another way, you would say that they are axis aligned.
Yeah. Yep. So we're going to probably have to use a function which gets the x position. So let's see how we can do that. So let's head on over back to pond and get the x coordinate of our duck. And we're probably going to have to do some fiddling around to see to what distance we want the x coordinate. So how about we do 50 at first, and then we'll tell the duck to keep on swimming.
It should be like it stops at 50.
Oh, so less. Yep. And let's see what happens if we run this. Looks like our duck keeps on moving.
Okay, so like if the swim makes it like continually do that, it's like its own while statement.
Okay,
you need to use the
else. So if it's not, how about we try an else statement then?
No, I mean like you have to put the swim before the while loop.
Swim before the while.
No, before the while loop. And then put the stop in the yeah, and then make sure it's like greater than. Okay, that should do it.
Let's try running this, guys. Okay, so it looks like we just gotta fiddle around with this 50 number to see when our duck should stop. So let's try 30. Just a little bit less. Let's try 27.
25 should be it.
The magic number is 25. Yep.
There we go. And just like that, our enemy duck tumbles like the game of Battleship it is.
And there we go. You can see this being related to some actual code. The while loop with the condition of true until the enemy has no health left. The logic if statement, getting the x coordinate and a function being called, and checking that until the duck is at a certain position, will stop the duck from moving and only fire the cannon. Now, level 10, and this time, we're going to be typing some actual code out. Andrew, you want to do it?
All right. So generally, hold on, do I have access to? Okay, there we go. So let's actually run the program real quick. So we need to first angle ourselves towards the duck. If you don't remember what the actual parameter names for the cannon function is, we can always look at the documentation. Now, keep in mind that a lot of times when you're coding, you will be referring to documentation. You will be looking up, going on the internet, just like looking up what does this function do, so that you can do stuff with it. So get used to that. It is very useful tech knowledge. So right here it says cannon. The first parameter is angle. The second one is range, or the distance it shoots. So very cool documentation. Let's actually account for that. It seems to be going at a 45-degree angle, if you remember the direction around the circle. So let's actually run it right now and see what happens. Let's go to 30. Now let's do 40. A lot of it is just trial and error. So it seems that what we need to do now is we need to continually step forward whenever the duck is hit. For this, if we're doing a series of moves, alternating with a series of shoots, of cannons, we need to actually use the while loop. So let's actually do it right now. So once it shoots, it needs to move forward a little. So what we're going to do is we are going to swim. Let me actually see the documentation for the swim.
I believe you need an angle inside.
Yes. swim, we'll say it should be 45 as well. And we need a way to stop the swim. Now, the way we can do that is we can have some form of if condition, as we always do. So let's actually add something like that in.
The y coordinate probably.
Yes. Although I believe that in order to make it easier, we can actually use some I don't know if they actually have a for loop. So hold on, let me read this real quick. There's the following will fire the cannon once as long as the opponent is in range. Okay, so in the documentation, we actually have an interesting piece of knowledge. We can test whether the opponent is in range. And if it is not in range, we can perform a move. So let's actually do that. If scan, it should be 45 degrees as always. I'm actually not too sure about the scan function. Let's look that up right now. All right, 45 degrees. And if that is in with firing range, we'll say that is lower than 40. We'll swim. Else, we will fire, but we will only fire after we have finished stopping. And we don't need to do this now because we have replaced the code. So as a quick overview, we are looping every so often. We are scanning in this vicinity, in this 45-degree line of sight. If it's out of range, we will swim. If it is in range, we will stop and we will shoot. So let us see right now if it works. All right, let's make sure we make that up maybe a little smaller. Let me just make sure the scan documentation is what it seems.
What if we try using the if we use the y location? What's the document?
No, because I think the problem is I forgot it's supposed to be greater than, not less than.
Oh.
And it should be 40. Just do that real quick. No, not 45 degrees. I mean like 40 as in the range.
Oh, okay. Oh, there we go.
And just like that, it starts to work. I'm not sure if it is going to properly do it within the screen.
There we go.
But yes, that is how we combine the loops and the if statements in the coding format without the blocks.
So obviously, guys, that was a lot of nuances, and we saw firsthand how we related our block coding to typing code, and we actually wrote out in if a while loop, and then we used logic, saying that if we can scan the enemy, we'll keep on swimming towards him. Otherwise, we'll stop and we'll keep on firing our cannon, showing us the relation between block code and actual code. And I believe we even talked about this in one of our previous lessons of how we can relate it to actual code and put a condition in an if statement. And if a condition is true, a certain piece of code runs. Otherwise, another piece of code runs. So that was pretty cool. Thank you, Andrew.
Right. Rand, sorry, what are we doing? Or
I'm just gonna share my screen one more time. Then. All right. So, like Andrew and I showed you today, we finished almost all of the block coding, the major block coding exercises in the website. And we've learned a lot of cool things, picked up a lot of skills in terms of while loops, for loops, if statements, learned a lot of logic. And starting next week, we're going to be making that transition into typing code and learning how to actually get our hands messing around with some websites and online coding websites. And over the next week, I'll post a website to where we will be coding an online platform. And feel free to mess around with it like we did the first week. But next week, we will be showing you guys how to translate some block code into typing code. And anything else we got, Andrew?
I think that should be good for now. Just know that this is a bit of a shorter lesson, but hopefully next time we will be going headfirst into that more in-depth typing. So get ready for that.
Learning a lot of more cool things next week. And yeah, so thank you guys for coming to the 4th week and for always sticking along. We hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. See ya.
Thanks for coming.